Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a good show lined up for you today. It's Wednesday. That means we'll have Johnny Cornell, the corn dog, JC, be joining us here in just a second. Second portion of this show, we're going to be joined by Wayne Hogan and Jan Richard from the Florida Rising Stars Project. We had them on, I guess, during the pandemic, and they're going to give us an update of what's going on. They've added a couple more celebrities to the list. But in the meantime, before we get to them, we're going to get to JC. Good morning, JC. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, QB. Good to be with you there on a beautiful Wednesday morning. We're right here in the middle of the week, and I guess we should be encouraged that only one SEC game that I know of, unless there's something else that's happened, only one SEC game that I know of has been canceled for this weekend. It's almost as if we've been conditioned now to accept the fact that football games are going to be hampered on a weekly basis, and just trying to get through the season is going to be quite a job. But I think it's going to happen. I'm a believer in that. I'm a glass half full guy, and hopefully we'll have some really good games to talk about and to watch this weekend, and even more importantly, hopefully people will be healthier and get back on track for the weekend and for the rest of the season.
That one game, it's the A&M Ole Miss game, correct? That's been canceled.
Yeah, that's right. And this will be Texas A&M's second cancellation. It seems as if the three best teams in the Southeastern Conference will each have had 2 weeks off at some point in their season. Of course, Florida with the 2 weeks off that they had to endure. Alabama now coming off their second week off, and now Texas A&M will have had 2 weeks off. A lot of football hopefully scheduled for December, and hopefully will be played in December, but nothing's a guarantee, as we know. So we'll see.
Did I read where Texas A&M only has one player, and I can't remember if he actually tested positive or was just in the contact tracing, and that's causing the entire game to be shut down?
Well, you may have read that about the Texas A&M. I'm not exactly sure what that was, but we've had that with some of the games in the Pac-12. California had a game scheduled with Washington this year, and one person had an issue with contact tracing, and they wiped it out. They wiped out the entire game. And, it seems as if they are very, very conservative, or I should say strict about contact tracing. That's become almost as big an issue as somebody testing positive.
So, JC, before we talk other stuff, I was looking because I had to travel to go speak to the Huntsville Quarterback Club, and
that's cool.
A fine establishment up here in Huntsville, Alabama, at an unbelievable country club that I spoke at called the Ledges on top of a mountain, beautiful golf course. But anyway, so I was looking through my phone because I never study for our Peachland Dentistry contest with you because I never know what games you're going to pick until you throw them out there. But I was looking something jumped out to me, JC. Okay, the Gators are a 31-point favorite over Vanderbilt at Vandy, correct?
Right.
Clemson is a 35-point favorite at the semis. Does that mean that Vanderbilt's a better football team than Florida State?
Well, would you really want to watch those two play? I guess we would find out if they did, sure. But I don't know if that's what it means. But I don't know if Florida State. I don't think they've ever been that big an underdog since before Bowden, and that has been, we're talking about decades. And in the context of point spreads, QB, here's one for you as well that I pulled up. So this is a nice little segue that you've brought up here that we can go into. LSU last year was a 42-point favorite against Arkansas. This year, Arkansas is currently a 1-point favorite. The 43-point spread difference is believed to be the largest in consecutive seasons between two FBS opponents ever. So
Jeez.
you've got a team that has, I mean, it's just packed it in LSU. And it's funny also, speaking of LSU, that there was word I believe we got from one of our listeners who likes to talk to us in between shows, saying that for some reason the commissioner is insisting on having that LSU Florida game on December 12th. If that were to be true, and I'm not exactly sure, I didn't see that, I just heard someone say that. If they insist on playing that game on December 12th, then they really dropped the ball on scheduling for Alabama's side of it, because if that were going to happen, Alabama should also have to play on December the 12th. The way the way they could have made that happen was have Alabama play LSU this week and move the Kentucky-Alabama game, which is scheduled for this week, to the 12th, because Kentucky doesn't have a December 12th game. I don't know who Alabama's going to end up playing if they have to play.
They're not going to play that game, JC. They're not going to make Florida play and Alabama not play, because the game means nothing. And there's was it you trying to tell me that by missing the LSU Alabama game that it's costing them $8 million? I
read something on the Athletic that I sent to you, QB.
Is that in the normal year $8 million, or in a regular, or in the pandemic? I don't know how they're going to make $8 million on a Saturday in Tuscaloosa when you only have 18,000 people there.
Well, that game would have been in Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. However many they have there.
What? Well, and I guess you didn't read the article, but they didn't mention any of things like they mentioned secondary issues, and I'm afraid you bring that up, and I did read it, but I read it about 3 weeks ago. For some reason, I'm having a hard time recalling, and that's why I sent it to you to read. But it doesn't matter. The thing is that everybody's taken a loss in some way, form, or fashion this year, and players are either opting out or they're sticking around. And the teams who have success this year seem to have obviously more guys sticking around than opting out. So I really do believe, and I think it's true, that some teams are just going through the motions. Penn State is one of those teams. Michigan is one of those teams. And I know these are athletes that want to compete, but I don't know if they are. I think this is such a different year. We're going to find out a lot about what happens in the Big Ten here in the coming weeks with some of the games that they have. Northwestern and Wisconsin is a huge game this week, and both teams want to play, it would appear, because both teams are a combined 6-0, with Wisconsin winning 2 games and Northwestern winning 4 games. So, yeah, I think we're going to find out a lot of answers here coming up soon. But I think we know one thing for sure, and that is down here, it's going to be Florida, it's going to be Alabama. Alabama's playing Kentucky this week, and the idea is going to be to keep as many players as healthy as possible, both from a field injury standpoint and from a COVID-19 standpoint. And these guys are getting down now to the second half of the season, or down the home stretch, where they have to realize what's at stake if they want to win something this year and play for something this year. I think the committee is going to have a hard time if teams continue winning, the ones that we expect to win, because there's going to be more than 4 teams who could rightly say, hey, we should be in the 4-team championship. I don't know how that's going to work out. It's still probably too early. I'm getting too far ahead of myself, because we know that Notre Dame and Clemson are probably going to play again as well. So if a Clemson were to win that game, and if a Florida were to beat Alabama, you're going to have a lot of conversation about this team and that team. And since they won't expand, or we haven't heard of any expansion plans for the playoff, which I wish they would, then 4 is it. That's all you're going to have. Alabama has been ranked number 1 in the nation, QB, for a record 13 straight seasons. 13 straight seasons. At some point in the season, Alabama has been ranked number 1. And up at the Huntsville Club that you were at last night, what were some of the biggest questions or the most poignant questions that you got? Can you share 1 or 2 with us?
Well, most of them just wanted to know, can Alabama beat Florida? That's what they were asking me.
Yeah.
It wasn't the other way around, as can Florida beat Alabama? They were worried about Alabama being able to beat Florida. So, it's going to be a heck of a game. And I've said this many times, the sad part about it is, and I'll preach it forever.
Yeah.
There's no atmosphere like the SEC championship game. It's better than any Super Bowl. It's better than any Final Four. It's better than any event you're going to go to. And so this could be the biggest SEC championship game we've had in a long time, because not only is the SEC championship on the line, a trip to the 14 playoffs on the line, and probably whoever plays the best in that game is going to win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, you can make that argument. I mean, it needs to happen. It needs to be like this because there's been some real dogs in that game, QB. I mean, we're talking blowout city in those games. And when it comes to Alabama and Florida, obviously those two schools are the two who have played the most in that particular game. Georgia has made it exciting with Alabama as well. And then last year, of course, we had LSU with the magical year that Burrow had. But you're correct. I don't know how the SEC is going to plan for this game in terms of, when you talk about atmosphere, there won't be much atmosphere in a Mercedes Dome when there's only 15,000 fans in there.
Right.
Now, those people will go crazy and have a good time, certainly. And maybe, everybody will be on the lower bowl and so forth. And it'll be a fun event to be at if there's anyone there at all. There was word that maybe some of the luxury box suites, are going for a lower, they're discounting the heck out of some of these.
Well, no, they're selling tickets to season ticket holders because I've already
to the season ticket holders.
You can put your request in. That doesn't mean you get them, but they are selling. I don't know how many.
Well, yeah, and we don't know exactly what the place is going to look like, other than the fact that it's not going to look like what it's looked like in the past when Florida and Alabama would play, and when Florida was competitive to play with Alabama. When Florida's last played Alabama in that game, and I know we're going to talk more about this game as we go in the weeks ahead, but as Florida in the past has played in that game a couple times with McElwain, and it just wasn't competitive. Now it's going to be extremely competitive, and it's going to be entertaining to watch because we've got two high-powered offenses. So hopefully, again, these guys can stay healthy. The coronavirus will start to become an afterthought as we get closer to that game in terms of players not being able to play, and we can get it done on December 19th. I think it's pretty safe to say that date will also have some other games being played as well earlier in the day. And speaking of early in the day, we've got another noon game here for the Gators.
Yep.
I've never seen so many noon games.
But it doesn't matter because there's no tailgating involved. That's the only thing that it affects noon games. We got a Facebook Live question brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. It comes from Dave. Dave says, are there a lot of players from Florida opting out? No, not one player that I'm aware of that has opted out that's a part of the Gator football team. When you got a chance to win a national title and have a big year, kids ain't going to opt out. It's whenever you got teams like Florida State having a horrible year.
Michigan.
Kids are leaving, wanting to go in the transfer portal, all that kind of stuff.
That's right. So, this weekend we've got two noon games, Florida, Vanderbilt, LSU, and Arkansas. I don't think we're going to have Miles Brennan playing for LSU for the rest of the season.
He's done for the year.
He's already said it, so there you go. You have that. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting like you are for that announcement about the Florida LSU game, QB. I'm just waiting for that.
So where did you heard last night that the commissioner said they're still going to play that game? Well,
we have a joint friend who talks to us a lot, who goes to the Gator quarterback club virtually. They do it virtually here, where you went. They go and congregate.
Yes.
Okay, so debate how you want on which one is appropriate and which one is inappropriate. Fine. I don't care about that argument, but it is obvious that there's two very different philosophies. But on that virtual Gator quarterback club meeting, that's what he told me. He said, Sankey is like, tough luck. Gators got, life isn't fair.
Well, he has to say that right now. I'm telling you right now, do you Think about it, though, JC.
No, I agree with you. You don't have to make the case, QB. You've made the case. I understand that. It wouldn't be right at all that Florida runs around with LSU risking injury and everything else while Alabama's sitting there watching. I mean, so Alabama, if they play the Florida LSU game, you're right, Alabama would have to play. The point I'm making is that they could have made that very easy this week by jumping out and saying, hey, we're going to play Alabama LSU this week and move Alabama and Kentucky to December the 12th. Why is that such a difficult thing? Kentucky didn't have a game on December the 12th. So do it if you're going to play that game. If you're not, then say it. Say it. Say, hey, guess what? Florida LSU is off the board. Okay, they got no problem talking about these other games being off the board. But if you're going to say it's not off the board yet, then say, Alabama, get ready to play on December 12th. And the only option that would happen is if they play Kentucky on that day. and play LSU this weekend. They could have done that, but they didn't do it.
They didn't do it. So we got another Facebook Live comment here brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Chris says, I like noon games. I'm old and cannot stay up for the night games.
Yeah. Well, there is a percentage of fans, I think, that do, but those are your seniorly fans. I don't know. I think the media, I always hear Pat Dooley talking about, hey, man, this is great. I could get my column in. I can beat my deadlines and I can sit at home and watch the night games. But obviously the noon game is it doesn't lead to an experience that most of us talk about when we talk about SEC football. And that is tailgating, planning, traveling, staying in town. A noon game means you leave town in many cases after the game. Well, the hotels don't like that here. The businesses don't like that here. But that's in the old days now. It seems like the new normal that we have, which I hate, is what we're experiencing. And hopefully next season will be dramatically different and back to the way things were. But I'm not even sure about that, QB.
Speaking of our good friend Dooley, him and Robbie Andrew, I think their last day at the Gainesville Sun, I think, is December the 1st. And wow. They're moving on to different avenues in the media market.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't even know the Gainesville Sun. I know one person personally that buys a Gainesville Sun every day.
Yeah. Well,
the head ball coach.
Well, some habits are hard to break, right? But I broke my habit a long time ago with that newspaper, and we won't talk about why, but there's a lot of reasons why. Having said that, big games this weekend, QB, we'll talk about on Friday in our Peachland Dental Picks contest. But the SEC schedule looks very timid. We're looking at a lot of games. Kentucky, Alabama. Alabama's a 30-point favorite. Florida's a 31-point favorite. You've got Auburn, a 10-point favorite, probably should be a bigger favorite against Tennessee. South Carolina with an interim coach now who is Mike Bobo playing against Missouri. I don't know what South Carolina's going to do, QB. There's been some names, but Ray Tanner has made it very clear that he is going to be the search committee and only he. And he's going to own what's happened now. This buyout from Muschamp of $13 million seems to be getting a lot of attention. And it's because Muschamp is getting money for not having succeeded or not working now. So where's he going to go? And while he goes somewhere else, South Carolina's still going to write a big check. And so a lot of conversation about that, but this is nothing new, right? This is what happens in college football, and this is what coaches get to do. And now coaches like Hugh Freeze are getting extensions. And so those extensions mean security in terms of paychecks. And Hugh Freeze, this is why he's not leaving Liberty anytime soon for a job like South Carolina, in my opinion. It's because of what they've shown him at Liberty. They were the first school to take him. He's having issues, I think, we'll have issues getting a job back in the Southeastern Conference for the time being. Maybe that'll change next year, but I also think there's an opportunity for him to get a job at a different type of school outside of the Southeastern Conference if they continue to have success at Liberty.
Well, you got to think from his standpoint, do I want to go to the SEC? Yes, it's the best conference, but, I go to South Carolina, I'm going to win 5, 6, 7 games on a good year. And I'm never going to win the SEC East. It's no different than when he was at Ole Miss. And everything that Lane's doing with all the publicity that Ole Miss gets, they're fun to watch. But let's be honest, in a regular year, they're going to win 7 or 8 games, their best year, and they're still going to end up 3rd or 4th or 5th in the West. It's just that's how it's going to be. So it's going to be interesting to see who Ray Tanner goes after. Muschamp, most people feel like he'll end up being an analyst at Alabama or Georgia with Kirby, which he probably will.
I'll give you a name. Well, shoot, it just left my mind. His name is Jamie, the Coastal Carolina coach. Jamie.
Yeah.
What?
He's done a phenomenal job there because they've only been playing Division I football for like 3 years.
It's incredible.
But again, it's one of those deals, JC. Yes, it's a much bigger school. You're going to make a lot more money.
Yes.
But you got to realize you're not going to win.
Right, but somebody's going to go to South Carolina, right? So we know that somebody's going to go to South Carolina. What Spurrier did is likely not going to ever happen again. I won't say never because I don't agree with that, but I don't think the odds are very good that you're going to win 11 games 2 or 3 years in a row.
I'm going to go out on a limb as long as I'm alive. They ain't doing that again.
Okay. Well, the thing is that, somebody's going to want that challenge. A guy like, gosh, I cannot believe I forgot his name. His name is Jamie something. But the Coastal Carolina coach, that's a move that probably wouldn't break Ray Tanner's pocketbook because he's already spent $13 million to let some guy leave. So you're not going to get a big name that's going to command a $6 million salary. You're just not going to find somebody like that. And so that kind of coach makes sense to me for South Carolina. And then, of course, we've got Brian Johnson sitting down here who's going to get a head coaching job. And he's an offensive guy, right? So Brian Johnson's a name that I think we're going to hear a lot more of. And I'm sorry, Florida fans, but that's just the cost of success. Ask Nick Saban about that. He can tell you all about it when it comes to losing coaches to other jobs. And that's okay, because in coaching, that's the goal, right? It's to become a head coach, to have your own gig and to create your own path to glory. So Brian Johnson's going to be a name that I think we're going to hear. And I think it's obvious why. It's obvious why. Minority offensive mind that is coached at Florida who could potentially win a championship, right? So certainly he's going to get a lot of attention.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves it. But again, Brian may not want that job if it's offered to him. Just because it's a head job in the SEC, you got to look at the big picture. Is this something that I feel like I can be competitive with? Or because, every coach, yes, they want to make a lot of money, but they also they're competitors. They want to win. And it's an interesting hire because, as I said, I'm not sure if they can get a big name person or quote splash hire to go into South Carolina.
I just don't see that. I don't see that because they'd have to pay that person. And right now, South Carolina is not, the turnstiles are not spinning off their base. And I don't know about the donations, but I can tell you a lot of it's going out the door to a guy who's no longer going to be there. So I could see a $3 million type, a $2 million type salary going to a young head coach. And it's not going to be a splashy hire unless you believe in this young head coach to be a splashy hire. When Hugh Freeze went to Mississippi, it wasn't necessarily a splashy hire, but it was what Archie Manning wanted, and that's what they got. And now we know what kind of coach this guy is. Offensively, he's one of the best in the country. Okay, yeah, he has some baggage, but the baggage is in the past, and so he'll get a job too somewhere. But he wasn't a splashy hire when he went to Mississippi. And sometimes you just take chances like that. Tennessee has tried it, and they failed miserably with their coaching hires. So hopefully for South Carolina's sake, they'll find somebody that doesn't cost them a lot of money that can come in and score some points and win some games for them, because that program is, since Coach left, and when Coach left, it wasn't doing well either. So, they're going to have to really get lucky, I think.
Yep. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today, 352-244-0840. A few more minutes with JC, and then we'll be joined by Jan Richard from the Rising Stars Project. So, JC, you have on your Miami Dolphins hat. So, are you now a Dolphins fan?
Well, I'm a Tua Tagovailoa fan, obviously, and good for him, man. What happened to him was so debilitating. There was question whether or not he was going to be able to play again. And Brian Flores has really done a great job of when to play him and what. Listen, a lot of people questioned him playing in that game when he came out and started. And one of the first possessions he had, he fumbled the football. And I'll tell you another funny thing. Jalen Hurts played when he was at Alabama. On the first possession that Jalen Hurts had, when he replaced Blake Barnett, when Alabama was playing Southern Cal, and it was one of the first possessions we ever saw Jalen Hurts, and he fumbled the ball, and they lost the ball to Southern Cal, and the rest is history. First time Tua had the ball, first drive for Miami, he fumbles it, and they go on, and the rest is history, and they win the game, and they're 3-0. So I'm supporting Tua right now with the Dolphins, and it's nice to see Miami at least be with a pulse now and compete for an AFC East division title, because it hasn't happened in over a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades. It's been a very long time because it's been dominated by New England. So we've got new blood, Buffalo and Miami competing for a division now. That's why I'm wearing the Dolphins hats, because I'm a big Tua guy. You know that, QB. You know I love Tua.
Yes, you love Tua.
A lot of Alabama fans love Tua.
So what's the latest update? I know Drew Brees has some broken ribs. His lung was punctured a little bit. How long is he out for?
He wants to be out for 2 or 3 weeks. I don't think that's realistic. I think it's going to be more like 5 or 6. I've never had broken ribs, but people have told me who've had them is that they're very difficult and slow to heal. The big issue with Drew Brees is the punctured lung issue. That has to be resolved in a more clear fashion before the Saints let him back on the field. Of course, if you ask Drew Brees, he'd play tomorrow. But the reality, I think, is at the very least 3 weeks, at the very most maybe 6. That's okay. If you look at their schedule, they've got the Falcons twice and a couple of other teams that have poor records. The Saints can do just fine with Jameis Winston, coached by Sean Payton, with New Orleans in these next 5 games. If you look at their schedule in the next 5 weeks, the Saints are not going to be tested, I don't think. Now, maybe the Falcons are playing better, of course, and that is a rivalry if there is such a thing in the NFL. So that could be difficult, but I don't think it'll be that difficult. The Saints are a better team than the Falcons, but it is the NFL, and there are a couple of other games that don't look very difficult for the Saints with the way they're playing right now, even with Jameis Winston, who I think with Sean Payton helping him out will be less prone to take big chances, to throw interceptions, and will be able to help that team score points. Because remember, as bad as Jameis was in Tampa, and he was in many cases putting his team in bad positions with all those interceptions, he still had 30 touchdown passes. So he's going to have Michael Thomas. He's going to have Alvin Kamara. He's going to have Emmanuel Sanders. And he's going to have guys that he can distribute the ball to that can do the heavy lifting for him. And I think that's what we'll see from the Saints, and I think they'll be fine. And then Drew Brees will come back healthy. And if they're smart, it'll be in 5 or 6 weeks, not 2 weeks.
So as of today, I believe we're a little past midpoint of the NFL season. Who's playing in the Super Bowl, JC? Give me 2 teams.
Well, it would be easy. It would be easy to say the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Because of
they're not the undefeated team.
I know, but it would be easy to pick them because if they played Pittsburgh tomorrow, they would probably be favored, would they not? So I think we'll take the Chiefs, but I'm going to stay instead of the Chiefs. I believe the Chiefs are going to win the AFC. I really believe the Chiefs are going to win the AFC. In the NFC, I have some favorites in there, but I think the team to watch right now is with a healthy Drew Brees, the New Orleans Saints. Now, I was going to say Russell Wilson with the Seahawks looked really great 3 weeks ago, but he's turned into a turnover machine, and I don't believe the Cardinals have enough to get there, even though they are hot right now and they're 6-3. I don't believe in anybody in the NFC East, and I think the South has your best opportunity with either Tampa Bay or New Orleans. So today, on November the 17th, or whatever day it is, 18th, I'm going to take the Saints and I'm going to take the Chiefs, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Steelers play the Bucs. So we'll go with. I think in the AFC it's going to be Kansas City or Pittsburgh, but I like Kansas City. They would be favored if they played Pittsburgh tomorrow. Doesn't mean they'd beat them. And then we've got in the NFC, I like the New Orleans Saints right now, just because defensively, forget about the offense. Defensively, that team is. I mean, what they did to Tampa Bay 2 times this season is unbelievable. What they did defensively to Tampa Bay. 3 points in that last game. They figured out something. And right now, I think Dennis
Allen
has really got it figured out for the Saints with what he's presenting, opposing offenses. And I love the way they're playing defensively. Gosh, they're playing good.
We got one, before we let you go, we got one more final Facebook Live comment here brought to you by Mellon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. It comes from Chris, and Chris is exactly correct. He says Florida wide receiver Trent Whittemore has similar injury as what Drew Brees has.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
But he's doing well. I talked to his dad the other day, so he's doing okay.
That's good.
JC,
Good. Yeah.
We'll start studying for the Peachland Dentistry weekend picks.
You're one game behind, brother. You're one game behind now. I've come back on you. It's amazing. You're 45-31. I'm 46-30. People around the country can't believe that.
My phone just gets blown up. They cannot believe it. They cannot believe our picking.
We're good.
Success.
We're good, buddy. We're 16 and 15 games over 500. I mean, that's unbelievable against the spread. Who's kidding whom here? We need to get another podcast just on that. I mean, my God. So anyway, be safe flying home from where you are, and we will see you on Friday.
All right, JC. Take care, my man.
Okay, buddy.
At Center State Bank, we put business first. We are the largest community bank in the state of Florida and understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. Center State has 5 convenient Alachua County locations to serve you better. Center State Bank, member FDIC. We're going to take a first time out of the pro. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Wayne Hogan and Jan Richard, and we're going to talk about the Florida Rising Stars Project. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios.
This is Shane Matthews. Thank you for listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. You can also check me out on Inside the Huddle with Steve Russell and the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Tune in every Tuesday during football season on WRUF 98.1 FM, 8:50 a.m. at 10 o'clock in the morning, or find us on your favorite podcast platform. We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Ribs, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Miapa Latin Cafe, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Radware for all your promotional needs, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the Advertise button or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Celebration Point's where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Tommy Hilfiger, Hotel Indigo, Nike, Skechers, Sushi Hana, and coming spring of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Visor's Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators come to celebrate. We're now going to be joined on the Titan MR hotline by our good friends, Wayne Hogan and Jan Richard from the Florida Rising Stars Project. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Shane. How you doing?
Doing well, Jan. Well, first of all, we had y'all on several months ago. We're going to run the video again to let people know what the Florida Rising Stars Project is all about. Then we're going to come back and we're going to discuss it, talk about some of the new celebrities that y'all have added to your list. So we're going to have the producer run the video right now.
If you had 30 minutes to change the life of a kid, what would you do? What would you say?
Rise and shine. It's 6 a.m. and your hand can't make it to the alarm clock before the voices in your head start telling you that it's too early, too dark, and too cold to get out of bed. Aching muscles lie still in rebellion, pretending not to hear your brain commanding them to move. A legion of voices are shouting their unanimous permission for you to hit the snooze button and go back to dreamland. The voice you've chosen to listen to is one of defiance, a voice that says there was a reason you set that alarm in the first place. So sit up, put your feet on the floor, and don't look back, because we've got work to do.
By donating to the Florida Rising Stars Experience, you have the opportunity to assist deserving young people by giving them the chance to participate in a world-class introduction to their desired focus in sports, tutored by some of the nation's greatest sports celebrities and practitioners. Just as there are 5 points on our star, there are 5 tracks to choose from in each of our 1- and 2-day sports experiences. Of course, there will be multiple opportunities to learn and participate in various sports instruction on the field, but what sets us apart is the chance for young people who have an interest in related sports career tracks to gain a parallel camp education taught by the best and brightest practitioners in their chosen field. And best of all, each of these tracks leads to the center of our star, which contains the life lessons embedded in sports. Our all-star cast of more than 50 ambassadors will provide unmatched instruction and pass along their personal stories of success and advice to help these young people improve their lives.
Adversity will come, and when it does, it will work to divide you and weaken unity that is so necessary for success.
You've got to figure out what kind of a leader do you want to be, or how do you go about being a leader.
And always be thankful for what you have in life. Be the best you can be. That will take you farther in life than all the championships you can win.
I'm sportscaster Bill Patrick, honored to be a part of the Florida Rising Stars Experience. Please take a moment now to donate and help these deserving young people in having a world-class experience that might just change their lives forever.
Welcome back to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. That was a video on the Florida Rising Stars project. We're having some technical difficulties. We're going to try to get our members to on the line here. But in the meantime, before we take our break to get them on, we want to tell you about Comfort Temp. At Comfort Temp, comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. This month, get a free annual maintenance plan with every residential duct cleaning purchase, which is a $199 value. Our service department is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your convenience. This day in sports, back in 1949, National League batting leader Jackie Robinson, who hit .342, wins the National League MVP award. That's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. We're going to take our second time out of the program. We come back, we'll talk more about the Florida Rising Stars project. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning.
Hey, Gator Nation, this is your former head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Check out our show, Inside the Huddle with Shane Matthews and Steve Russell, every Tuesday during football season on 8:50 a.m. and 98.1 FM WRUF at 10 o'clock a.m.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Pomodoro Cafe, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Aver and Smith Personal Injury Attorneys, Orange Theory Fitness, PRP Regeneration Specialist, and Dowling Signs. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the Advertise button or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Refresh your vehicle and your brand with a vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. November is your lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. We're now going to go to the Titan MR Hotline. We're joined by Jan Richard from the Florida Rising Stars Project. Jan, how are you, my man?
Good morning, Shane. How are you, sir? Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. We ran the video, and obviously we had y'all on a couple months ago. Just tell us, and some of our new listeners, because we have a lot more listeners now that weren't around then. Tell them, kind of give us a thumbnail of what the Florida Rising Stars Project is all about and how you came about starting it.
I worked with Florida Sports Hall of Fame for a couple of years, and in the second year, we really started working towards the kids. Working with kids and trying to support, underprivileged and sometimes at-risk kids. First of the year, they changed presidents, and the new president wanted to go in a different direction. So I took Florida Rising Stars myself, and although it's been an interesting year, we've done pretty well. Basically, Florida Rising Stars is built around sport camps, but we take it a step further. We actually go into the classroom with these kids and we talk to them about things like substance abuse and bullying and mental health and wellness and nutrition and so on and so forth, which is a little bit different than other camps. And we have now added additional tracks for these kids to go on. It's called the Florida Rising Stars Experience, and we're going to give kids, not all kids, there's a lot of kids that are very interested in sports, but not all are athletes. So we're going to give them the availability to learn things like sports medicine and sports information and marketing and so on and so forth. We're also developing the Bill Patrick School of Broadcast and Journalism. So we're going to try to give these kids a full experience. And we've built up a pretty good list of what we call ambassadors. In fact, Shane, you're one of them, as a matter of fact. And, you can go over that list if you want, but that's kind of how we came about this. And we're really focused on 2021. Right now, just like everybody else is. We're looking for the first quarter of 2021, and I think we built a pretty good infrastructure base. So I think things are looking pretty good for us. We're all pretty excited about this.
So Jan, I believe we have Wayne Hogan on the line as well. You two guys, y'all have known each other. Y'all have been involved in the sports scene in the state of Florida for a long time. How did you guys come to partner on this project?
Well, good morning. First of all, sorry I'm a little late to the circus here this morning. I couldn't get my audio up and running, but thank you. Thank you for having us. Jan and I worked together most recently in the last year or so with some projects with the Florida Sports Hall of Fame. I was deeply involved with the Hall of Fame for the last 5 or 6 years, and Jan was someone who we called on many times to help us through projects. There were various fundraising opportunities and these kinds of things. And in fact, I believe, Jan, it was during that period of time where you really hatched the idea of the Florida Rising Stars. And I'm really fortunate. The Hall of Fame group about 6 months ago or so, 5 months ago, decided that because of the pandemic, they were going to more or less cease operations for 7 or 8 months until we get into the first part of 2021. And, I felt like that I didn't really have 8 months to take off. so I wanted to be involved, continue to be involved. And Jan reached out and was telling me about all the good things that he had accomplished as far as infrastructure for this project, for the Florida Rising Stars project. And frankly, it blew me away. I had no idea that he had been putting all this together. And the more he shared with me, the more I understood that this is something that could be really cool. And especially me being a former athletic administrator, I worked in college sports for 35 years. And being in that role, I understood that this is an opportunity for kids. You know, there's many kids that want to play sports. They want to be on the field, and they want to be going through some instruction, you know, actually in the field of sports. But there are many kids who really are interested in sports, but want to do some things behind the scenes. And that's what I think sets us apart. And Jan understood my theory on this, and I understood how far he had come. And I think we meshed together our ideas, and we've really come up with something that I think is going to be unique and something that's going to give a lot of deserving kids an opportunity to work, to learn how to get into the field of sports, no matter whether it's on the field or off the field.
We're speaking with Wayne Hogan and Jan Richard on the Titan Hotline. They're the brain trust of the Florida Rising Stars Project. So the camp opportunities are labeled as an quote experience. So what is going to make the Florida Rising Stars Project, their camps, unique from other sports camps? And what kind of experience are you talking about? What sets it apart?
Well, I think you can, you'll be able, the kids and their parents will be able to pick a field of study, as it were. You know, if they're interested in a sports camp and go out there and knock heads in football or play baseball or whatever it might be, we'll have the best instruction on the field that they can get. We're going to be using high school coaches. We've got a good relationship with the Florida High School Coaches Association, and that they'll get very good instruction there. But what sets us apart again, Shane, is the fact that these kids can choose a path. If they're interested in sports broadcasting, for example, we'll have a great curriculum in that. We'll have great instructors. We'll have the equipment, the cameras, the microphones. These kids will get a day or two to learn the introduction to sports broadcasting. They'll be able to sit on both sides of the camera. You know, we've got instruction in as Jan said, some kids may be interested in sports marketing. And today that's a huge thing, as you know, and it gets into social media. It gets into how best to position your athletic program or your professional sports team. And we'll have a team of sports marketers that will come in and we'll give these kids a leg up on how to you know, break into that business. We're going to get into things like athletic training and sports medicine, and we'll have, you know, trainers from the various colleges and high schools that'll come in and talk to the kids about that. So anyway, that's what makes it unique. Not everybody's going to be doing the same thing at our camps. They'll be in different pods, as it were. And then at the end of the day, what's cool about it is all the kids come together, all the kids and instructors come together at the end of the day, and they learn how it all fits into one piece. The players on the field, the people doing marketing, the stats, the people gathering stats, and the broadcasters and all of that, how it fits together. And they learn all of that plus life skills. We one of the things, and I want Jan to speak to this if he could real briefly, but our ambassadors are either going to be in person or on video that will come in and will present a message to these kids about success, about how you gain success. What are the important aspects of that? And I know Jan has spoken to all of the ambassadors about their part in that. And I think that's going to be a real powerful part of this experience that these kids will have.
Yeah, speaking of the ambassadors, y'all have a ton of celebrity ambassadors. If y'all don't mind, kind of give us a little rundown of the who's who involved in this program.
Well, as we said, thank you very much, Shane. You've already done an interview with us, but you are one. But at the top of the list, of course, is Coach Bowden and Coach Spurrier. They have both been very generous with their time. And they are, I guess you could say, the Mount Rushmore of the state of Florida. We're excited. We've got other people like Leigh Steinberg. We tried to select some people who have actually had problems with regards to the life experiences that we're trying to teach these kids. And of course, Leigh Steinberg, anybody that knows about him, and Leigh is the first, he is not afraid to, Leigh is, he lays bare. When you ask him a question, he'll tell you exactly how he screwed up. And And he talks directly to these kids and he tells them, do not make the same mistakes that I did. And I'm happy to say that Leigh has agreed to, at the end of the football season, he's bringing in two of his top clients to be ambassadors also, Tua Tagovailoa and Patrick Mahomes. They'll be coming on board after the football season is over, as will Tony Dungy. I know you had the Hilinskis, Mark and Kym Hilinski, on. They are another example. They lost a son to suicide because of mental health, and they have now dedicated their life to speaking to kids. They've developed the Hilinski Hope Foundation, and because she tells me, because of us, they are now speaking to high school kids. They primarily were talking to college kids, and they suddenly realized that by the time these kids get to college, it might be too late. So they're on board. Rocky Blyer, Johnny Damon, Alan Smith, who played in the Premier League. He's our soccer guru, played Manchester United amongst other teams. Jerry Kramer, of course, everybody remembers him. We're not just locked into sports. We've got some other people come. Skip Martin, who is the lead singer for Kool and the Gang. Rick Barry and John Cook just came on board last week. Everybody remembers Rick Barry from what used to be the San Francisco Warriors, old underhanded Rick. And the John Cook has now brought golf into it, and he's going to bring some of his friends in. So our list is pretty. It's up to 50 now, and these people have agreed to share their, as Wayne said, to share their life experiences, to talk to these kids, whether it be live, and obviously some of these people can't be live, but we are living in the world of Zoom these days, so virtual is very much, and every one of them are excited about what we're doing, and they want to help in any way that they can. So.
We have a few more minutes left, about 3 or 4 minutes left, and I know y'all are looking for financial support to provide for this experience for so many young kids. How do people get involved with this assistant or make donations? How do they do it?
Go ahead, Jan.
Go ahead, Wayne.
Well, first of all, we're going to begin within 24 to 48 hours a crowdfunding site. That's our launch. This is going to give us an opportunity to get our story out to as many people as we can. We've done a lot of research on crowdfunding. This is the GoFundMe kind of idea. And one of the things that it does is, in addition to allowing us hopefully to raise some funds for scholarships for these kids, it gets us out in front of a broad audience, because the more our story spreads and is shared among all social media avenues, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, people sending this to their email addresses and things like that. It's not only a link that will give people a chance to donate, but it's also a link that explains who we are. The video will be there, the explanation of what we're trying to accomplish, what we are going to accomplish with these camps and experiences, starting in early 2021. So we're going to get that off the ground. And then in addition to that, Jan and I are both very familiar with reaching out to contacts in the corporate world. We hope there's a number of Florida corporations that will be interested in sending these kids to our experience. And we're going to begin to do that as well. We do have a website, FloridaRisingStars.org or FloridaRisingStars.com. I believe Jan has had the infrastructure to gather all that. So we hope people will go to the site, and they can also make a donation to support the kids and their scholarships right there on our site.
Well, guys, we appreciate y'all joining us this morning. It's a wonderful thing y'all are doing. It's called the Florida Rising Stars Project. Wayne and Jan, really appreciate you taking the time to join the program. Y'all stay safe down there, and let us know if we can do anything in the future for y'all.
Thank you for having us, Wayne. Shane, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That's Wayne Hogan and Jan Richard joined us on the Titan & More Hotline discussing the Florida Rising Stars Project. Don't forget tomorrow, folks. In the meantime, go out, follow us, like us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Tomorrow's program, it's Thursday. That means Brent Beard will be joining us talking college football and our Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. We'll be joined by Mike Rideout from the prepzone.com talking high school playoffs and football, and they've already wrapped up all the volleyball. He'll give us a recap. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Be safe out there, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow.